Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back here with Meet the Elite. Michael Pijanowski joining us today. He is our amazing coach, our friend, and we're about to enjoy the ride. Tell us hello and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Michael Pijanowski. I'm a relationship coach at enjoytheridetexas.com. Enjoy the Ride is a counseling service that helps awesome people find new ways to interact with their world. So I work with people who are suffering with anxiety and depression, eating disorders, smoking cessation. I work with couples who are in conflict. I also work with people who are looking for an intimate partner, which is what we're going to be covering today. I also work with people that are looking to break old habits and form new habits.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and also, may I ask the website up front?
Yes, the website is enjoytheridetexas.com. And I've got all my contact information on there. And if you are looking for a free phone consultation, I'm willing to do that. So we make sure that that you resonate with the work that I do, because that's really important.
Yeah. Let's talk today. Let's go for the whole relationship aspect. It clearly is something you talk about all the time. How to find, how to keep a partner. There's so many sides to this relationship story, right? So
yes, there are, and we're going to cover a few because it's a complex situation. I'm going to start this with a quote that I really like. It's actually I have it on my bookcase, and I look at it all the time. And the quote is, "The whole point of an intimacy is to serve each other in growth and love. Hopefully, in better ways we can serve ourselves. Otherwise, why engage in intimacy if your growth and love are served more by living alone? Intimacy is about growing more than you could by yourself through the art of mutual gifting." And that quote is by David Data.
David Data. I don't know. Should I know David Data? That's a beautiful quote.
I don't know. He's been around for 30 some years. He mostly works with men. It was somebody that I got exposed to very early on after my divorce, and completely changed my world. So anyway, we can get into that some other day. But one of the things, like with that quote, and I've asked friends this question that are looking for a girlfriend or boyfriend, and this always catches people off guard, because I'll say, "Why are you looking for a relationship?" And then they look at me like the question is too obvious. But it's a question that we
all want to be
answer.
happy and in love, but
I mean, it's a question we feel like it's too obvious to actually have to answer. And we all have to answer it for ourselves, because I mean, for some people, they just want somebody to dote on them and to make them feel good, and that's fine until you find out that maybe it's better that we're happy within ourselves first before we get involved in a relationship. And the other thing about that is, are you ready? Are you ready to be in a relationship? I mean, have you really looked at that and said, or are you still dragging around your ex in a suitcase behind you, and it comes up all the time, the angst that you still carry in these new conversations that you're having? I mean, have you really taken care of your past and left that behind you before you move ahead?
Move on.
Because you don't want to bring that into a new. Yeah, you don't want to bring that into a new relationship.
How do you recommend letting go? And if you can't let go, explain to me the process, because some people can't let go. What do you need to let go? How could you coach someone through that?
So it's always about the emotional charge. So when something comes up, whether you see something or somebody says something, and you feel that angst, or all of a sudden you start talking about what your ex did, or what the situation you're in because of your divorce, or whatever it is, it's looking at the emotions that you're feeling in that moment. Because what we have done is, and we've done this, and we all do it from an early age, is we learn how to suppress emotion. As little kids, when they get upset, they cry and cry and cry until they have no more crying left. And what they're actually doing is they're feeling the emotion fully until they just run it out, and it just leaves, and then it's no longer a problem. They wake up, they maybe take a nap, they wake up, they feel pretty good. We don't do that. We shove it down. We want to we want to keep it at bay. We want to avoid it. We want to run away from it. And so the first thing I tell everybody within all these realms that I deal with is look at your emotions. When you feel an emotional charge, stay with it.
Okay.
Don't run away from it. It hurts. It hurts like hell. It's not comfortable, but in sitting with it and allowing that pain to be there without judging it as wrong or bad or beating yourself up for saying, I shouldn't be feeling like this. It's been 5 years or whatever. Don't do that. Just understand that it is an energetic pattern that it wants to escape. And that's why it keeps bubbling up.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you say people have trouble meeting the right person, or is it really about, do we meet the wrong person, or is it because we're not ready? Or do we use that as an excuse, right? I'm not finding the right person.
Well, yeah, that can be used as an excuse. The other thing is we're not meeting the right person because energetically we're not putting out a vibe that is pleasing to other people. And that goes back to, taking care of your baggage. Are you really putting out a vibe? It's like, and I've heard this many times before and been through several transformational weekends and heard from a lot of people that after a tremendous event like that, where you're just feeling all this joy and love, and random people that you run into will just they'll smile at you. They'll say, wow, what happened to you? Like, a friend of mine, he was in a restaurant and the waitress said, man, you look like you're in love. And he was just,
Beaming.
beaming energy. And
Mhm.
so if you're not beaming that energy, maybe that's the reason why you're just not meeting anybody. You're just energetically not ready. So and then meeting the wrong person, that is a matter of unresolved emotions. So we tend to meet people, and we're going to talk about mirrors in a little bit, but we tend to meet people that kind of resonate with us. And if we are carrying a certain energy of whatever it is, if it's anger, if it's shame, if it's guilt, if it's anything that we have not dealt with, we tend to attract these kind of people into our lives. And then we, on a conscious level, we say, well, I don't want that. And then most of us just blame that other person and say, well, I need to find the right person. And that's not really where we need to go. We need to become the right person. We need to become the kind of partner that we want to be with.
True. You're right. It's self-reflection, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in a sense, you got to think, and if we're always harping on what we don't want and the negative, that's what we attract. So you got to be, okay, the mindset. All right. What about, that's kind of like the mirrors of relationship. Is that what that means?
Yeah. So there are, and I used to have a real kind of a kindergarten idea about this whole reflection thing in the mirrors. And I've come to new realizations about the way this works. Now, on one hand, in the first way, I call it like a direct reflection. People that we are attracted to reflect how we are being. And a great example that I love to use, because I remember when my kids were little, and I just remember the first time they did something that I didn't like, and then I just realized in that moment, oh shit, they got that from me. It was like I was looking in the mirror and I just knew I'm the one that did this. And so, that's an easy example to give. But then, as we get older, we're still doing that, but we're not looking at it that way. But it's still, people are reflecting who we are. And so pay attention to what you're feeling. Pay attention to what's going on when you're with somebody.
Yeah.
So there's a second mirror, and the second mirror, I like to call that the indirect reflection.
Okay.
And so the indirect reflection is these people are showing us what we judge, or they're showing us our expectations. So they could be behaving in a certain way that we don't like, and we're bringing that into our sphere, because what we need to learn is that we're judging, or that we have expectations, and we need to let go of expectations. I mean, expectations are just they're a total bear trap when it comes to a relationship. And so these people can show us. Now, that's a subtle mirror, and in some cases you may need the help of a coach to kind of really iron that one out. It's not as easy to see as a direct reflection. But you have, when you're with someone and you have these, you see some behavior you don't like, it's just digging into yourself. Look at yourself. Don't point the finger at them. So then the third mirror is that people show us how we have compromised ourselves. And this one is different in that we're attracted to someone that has this positive attribute, or maybe more than one, that we really desire. Now, maybe we lost it, we gave it away, or it was taken away from us, but they possess this positive attribute that we wish we had. And so when you're sitting with this person, you can, in your own mind, you could just kind of ask yourself, is there something about this person that, because I'm really attracted, is there something about this person that they have some attribute that I wish I had? And so I'm looking at them, that this is why I'm kind of smitten. Now, when you take care of that thing that you have lost, had taken, or gave away, then the attraction may just go away. Because if it was the primary reason for your attraction, then once you have gotten to that point where you have that attribute in yourself, then maybe, and then all this stuff is subtle. So there's no solid line of saying, this is this and this is that. So you have to work everything out for yourself. You have to energetically feel how this feels, and that one also can be a little subtle. But it's all a matter of looking at yourself, to figure out where you're at.
Do you want to talk a little bit about love languages? What's that all about?
Oh yeah, you don't know about love languages? Come on,
No,
where have you been?
I don't.
So there's actually a website, and there's a book, and so you can find out what your love languages are by I think it's 5lovelanguages.com or something like that. Anyway, you can find it really easy with a Google search. So you've got 5 different love languages, and these are the ways in which the ways, like our values, kind of like what's important to us. And so they are acts of service, giving gifts, physical touch, quality time, and words of affirmation. So we all have something that speaks to us. And when you do this test, you kind of find out where you're at in the upper, what your top 2 are, which to me seems really important. Because if your number 1 love language is acts of service, and your partner has their number 1 is physical touch, and maybe physical touch is really low for you, it's hard for you to give them what they need, and it's hard for them to give you what you need. If physical touch is a deal for you and that's like really low for them, you're going to be like starving. So I think I lost your sound. Your sound's gone. I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
There you go.
So we have to be on the same love language page?
We don't necessarily have to. I would say that starting out, it would be a good idea because it's important. And then it's easy to communicate. It's easy to give our partners what they need because that's the way we're wired. Now, if you're already in a relationship and then you find out about this and you say, oh, why are we having issues? Now, when you find out your partner's love languages, if they're different from yours, now you can make a conscious effort to speak to those. It's just not as easy because it's not what's important to you. I mean, for me, gifts is like probably the bottom one. I could care less about gifts. And so it's not the first thing I think of is giving gifts. So it's nice to be aware of. Now, the other thing that I could say about that is, in my experience, I'm cognizant of all this, and I'm always interested to find out, where somebody is at on this, in their love languages. But I find that I continually attract people that are very congruent with mine. And so I don't, right now, I don't give it an awful lot of my attention because I still look for it, but it seems like it always keeps lining up in that fashion. So I don't know.
Let me ask you this. You say we should have a coach, but you also say we could teach ourselves. I don't think we could teach ourselves as good as you. Can you explain that, fathom that theory?
Yes. So yes, I teach people to help themselves. I give them tools to regulate what's going on internally. But there are also times when you need some extra assistance. I've got a new coach that I'm seeing tomorrow, and so it's just maybe a touch up or maybe a little different perspective. And right now, for me, it's about resistance. Like, what am I resisting? And there are areas that I have trouble digging in to actually get to that. And so it's been really helpful. I had a session 5 weeks ago, and it was really, really helpful. So I know it's a conflict when I say, that I'm going to teach you how to do this yourself. But, there are ultimately points you reach a point, things are going well, and then you hit some rough spot, and then you may come back and schedule an appointment. So the one thing that is unique about what I do is that once I get you on your way, once you know how to do this work, then we won't be meeting that often. Initially you're trying to get your land legs, you're trying to figure things out and really integrate this into your life. But once you've really integrated into your life, you're doing pretty good on your own. But you are going to hit moments because we're constantly growing, and then you may find that you need some other modality or something different. Just don't get hung up on that, because I see a lot of people that go to one transformational event after the next, after next, after next. They're in my view, it seems that they're giving away their power to these events rather than an occasional, wow, that would be interesting, let's check it out kind of thing.
Got it. Well, thank you for sharing that. And we still have 10 minutes left in the show, Michael. Want to make sure we're covering everything that's important to you. Tell us the website.
The website is enjoytheridetexas.com. And you can find me there. I've got my contact information. You can shoot me a text. We can set up a free phone consultation and chat a little bit.
Great. What about fear of loss in relationships?
Fear of loss. So there's a couple components of that. So one of them is that we fear speaking our truth because we don't want to upset our partner. But the problem with that is we're hiding a piece of ourselves from our partner. And if you keep going down this road of not speaking your truth, then you're really by default kind of growing apart. I mean, your intimacy is not really an intimacy anymore. I mean, the whole point is that you're transparent with each other. And so when we have this fear that, well, if I tell you what I really think, or, hey, what you said triggered me, but understanding that I'm not blaming you, I'm just saying, hey, what you said or did really triggered me. And then to have a conversation about it, and without any blame. But if you fear that when you say that, like, hey, what you said triggered me, that they're going to get angry and they're going to go away, you're causing a lot of discord within yourself and within the relationship. You're pulling a piece of yourself back. And the other thing that I see with fear of loss is people that are in a relationship because they fear loss and they fear being that vulnerable, they end up settling for less than what they really, than what they're really deserving of. I mean, we all deserve a partner that is going to walk with us and grow together.
Yeah.
So fear is, fear in any area is, there's healthy fear, and then there's fear that just takes us down the wrong road. And again, we feel the fear, we feel it as an emotion, we feel it in our body. And so we address that. And so, it's a matter of getting rid of that fear, gaining confidence, and just being confident that, I'm happy with me. I'm happy alone. If and when I find somebody that resonates with me, that wants to take this journey of growth, that's wonderful. And if they happen to go away, maybe they reached a point to where we no longer resonate, and then they go away. Well, I'm sad, but I'm not defeated, because I'm still okay with me.
True.
So yeah, fear is fear on any level to the extreme is a problem.
Yeah. Now, would you recommend any books for our listeners? Anything that we should be reading to help us out with this topic?
Well, one of the basic ones, a really good one, is The Four Agreements, which is a magnificent book that really, and it's very simple. It's a very short read, but it really kind of cuts to the things that are important in our lives. And let's see, another one would be, for relationship, for especially men, Mark Manson's book, Models, which is probably one of the best dating and relationship books I've ever read. And I've read a lot. And another one is David Data. Now, of course, these are mostly specifically geared toward men, but David Data's The Way of the Superior Man, which actually is also helpful for women, because then they can kind of see what's going on in the male population and why they seem to be having difficulty in relationship. And Data really, he's done this work for many, many years and really identified things from a position of polarity and how it works in relationship, and how important it is. And it really does have meaning, because I've done a lot of field testing, and it's and found and done a lot of interviews with random women, asking them how they feel about like when a man can't make a decision, or is not not confident, or things like that. And so yeah, really good books to get you on your way.
Perfect. And what else did you want to share? I know you had some quotes ready for us to go today.
I do. I have some quotes. So the quieter you become, the more you can hear. And that's Ram Dass. And if you can't be at ease alone, you will seek a relationship to cover up your unease. And that is Eckhart Tolle.
Okay.
Want another one? I got
Sure.
another one. All right. So if you push something away, it's still got you. You're busy not doing it. And that's Ram Dass. So it's like you're pushing it away, because you're giving it all that attention, you're just saving it for another day.
You're still moving it aside to still come back. And so we have to address it, correct?
Yes.
And anything else you want to share about your time and your work here as a coach, about how you can help our listeners? Again, this is enjoytheridetexas.com. What else do you want to add for our listeners today?
Just that, when you change internally, you're going to see your exterior world change. I run into people all the time, have all these really cool conversations, and they just come to me. And so I met a guy who was 31 years old, and he starts telling me about, he can't find a girlfriend and blah, blah, blah. And he didn't even know what I did. And I don't know why he was telling me this, but it's kind of funny how, as you change internally, your expression of your life changes. I mean, things just change.
Got it. Beautifully said. And Michael, in closing today, we can point out the website, enjoytheridetexas.com. What other form of contact do you want to share with everyone?
Well, they can reach me at enjoytheridetexas.com, or they can email me at michael@enjoytheridetexas.com. They can find my phone number on the website. They can shoot me a text if they want to have a free phone consultation. We'll set up a time to do that.
We like that free phone consultation. That's kind to do. Seriously. And let me ask you, have you seen a lot of couples strained during this past year and a half? Pandemic has brought a lot of people apart, right?
Yes. It's making them engage with each other more, because now they're, like, say they're working from home, and now all of a sudden you actually have to spend more time with this person, and you're stressed about everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
But like I had said before, something that's happening out in the world that really seems bad is making people wake up and think about a new way to see their world.
Great.
So,
well, thank you for inspiring us to do that, to do better relationships. And again, enjoy the ride, Texas. Michael Pijanowski, thank you for your time today.
thank you, Jill. It was a pleasure being here again.
Same here. Looking forward to the next time we speak. Are we back together next week?
Yes, we are.
We are. Good. We'll see you then. Thank you
Very
so
good.
much. Have a great time. Have a great week. And we'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.